Despite Lamelo Ball having a great year for the Hornets this season, next year is going to be a make it or break it season. He was playing the most efficient and impactful basketball of his still young career, but for the second year in a row, it was cut short by injury. So with his new contract starting, it's now or never for him to justify still being called the star for a Hornets team that badly needs one. First, the positives. Lamelo is a very unique player with a flashy combination of skills. He's a true playmaking guard that keeps the offense flowing, has a great handle to break down defenses, and is huge for his position at 6'7". For reference, in 2022, the average height for a point guard was 6'2.5". That size is his biggest advantage, of course. It gives him an edge to score over defenders. And if he adds more muscle or decides to work on some post moves, he could become a matchup nightmare for most point guards in one-on-one situations. But what it helps the most is his passing vision. Ball is an extremely talented facilitator capable of making any kind of pass. Lamelo plays with his head up at all times, looking out for open teammates. Even when he's hunting for his own shot, he's ready to deliver pinpoint passes for easy shots. And as a playmaker, Ball is best operating in the pick and roll. He's a big threat as a scorer, which puts pressure on the defense and opens up the big men for easy passes. This past season, he was in the 80th percentile as a pick and roll ball handler despite not having elite bigs around him, which is why I was disappointed that they did not select Donovan Clingan in the draft to give Lamelo another lob threat to work with. His teammates also just had a 50% effective field goal percentage when shooting off a pass from Lamelo, 5 points below league average. Brandon Miller and Mark Williams' continued development should hopefully improve the effectiveness of Lamelo's passing this coming season, but the team needs to find ways to add more winning players to the roster. As for his own scoring, Ball is fun to watch. He plays at his own jittery pace because he's a threat to pull up, pass, or attack the rim. He constantly uses shifty moves to dissect the defense. Pass fakes, shot fakes, stop and go, turnarounds, changing hands mid-air. When he's on, the defense can only hope to guess what Lamelo's actually going to do. And underneath all the flash is also the framework for an extremely efficient offensive game. Lamelo takes most of his shots in the two most effective areas, three-point range and at the rim. Rarely does he play in the mid-range. In fact, just 25% of his shots came from mid, which puts him in the very low 16th percentile. Combined with his passing, you have a player type that's already been proven to be able to entirely carry an offense similar to the James Harden Rockets, a team based on maximizing the efficiency around Harden. Overall, Lamelo has the talent worthy of being a franchise player. However, there are concerns we need to talk about. First, injuries. In the first 4 years since he's been in the NBA, he had just one healthy season. His sophomore year, where he played 75 games. The other 3 years, he averaged just 29.6 games played. Out of the 11 listed injuries in his NBA career, 7 of them were ankle related, which is not a good sign. Unless he strongly commits to correcting whatever movement and muscle imbalances he has going on, Lamelo might never be a player a team can rely on to be healthy. And even then, his brother Lonzo spends a lot of time in the gym working on corrective exercises and becoming stronger, and yet he can't stay healthy. He also began his career dealing with ankle injuries and eventually had issues throughout his entire lower body. Next, while it's easy to see Lamelo as an offensive focal point, he has for the most part been very streaky and inefficient at scoring. Although better this year, Lamelo is a very poor finisher at the rim, shooting just 55% within 5 feet of the basket and just 53% on layups specifically. At times, it seems like he's just trying to do way too much. Sometimes he tries and fails to draw contact or takes really tough and forced shots instead of kicking out the ball to a teammate. The shot selection might be an indicator that Lamelo needs to add more strength to be able to properly finish through contact. And then from 3, although he can get to his shot whenever he wants, he has been as streaky a shooter as they come. In the past 7 months, without exaggeration, we would see his shooting alternate between great one month and then terrible the very next. Three-point shooting looks like it's going to be Lamelo's key skill, so he has to be consistent. And then defensively, through a combination of poor decision-making, lack of effort, and focus, he's been just bad, letting his opponents shoot 11% better against him this year. His weaker frame and poor lateral movement hurts his potential, but he lacks the fundamentals, at times losing his man, not providing help defense when needed, or providing it when not necessary. So while Lamelo has undeniable talent, he has a plethora of questions about his game that need to be addressed. And then finally, the situation around Lamelo has been terrible. The Hornets have not had a good basketball culture, dealing with many issues off the court. Some things are just out of the team's control, but the problems are still there. Miles Bridges had his domestic violence case, Kai Jones had a mental health dilemma, Newcomer Grant Williams was a locker room problem with the Mavericks, and James Bouknight was arrested for a DUI. After being traded to the Miami Heat, Terry Rozier called out those issues, saying, "When you're in Charlotte, you're kind of used to losing. Over here, nobody is fine with losing." Lamelo could be a leader, but 4 years into his career and the losing culture is still very much there, with him contributing to the issue. For example, this season against the Knicks, the team was down 25 and their coach was just ejected. Lamelo Ball was caught on the sidelines laughing and joking with teammates. On the court, he can look disinterested at times, specifically on defense, and then off the court, he's not exactly a role model. Just watch the several clips of him driving out of the arena, almost crashing at the intersection every time. Winning more games and adding some vets might fix this, but it's not inspiring. If Lamelo can improve his health and become more disciplined, then he will continue to have his place as the face of the Hornets. But right behind him, ready to take the spotlight if given the opportunity, is Brandon Miller. Miller had a great rookie season and looks every bit of the part of a franchise player too. The electrifying wing did great leading the Hornets post Lamelo's injury, showing scoring, playmaking, and defensive upside. If he continues an upward trajectory while Ball shows the inability to address his issues, then a change of the guard might be coming in Charlotte. If you liked the video, subscribe for more content like this in your feed, and then liking and commenting would be very much appreciated.